Good afternoon. How are you? Thank you again for joining us. My name is O.S. Owen, and I'm your host today. And I'm with the AARP Foundation. And we are constantly looking for volunteers. Here's our website. You can reach us here at www.aarp.org. Our phone number is 312-660-8665. And today in our studio, we have a very special guest today. We have Mr. Chris Dorsey. How you doing, Chris?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. And Chris is the president of the Southside Little League. And he can be reached at 312-210-4232. And the email is southsidelittleleague@gmail.com, www.southsidelittleleague.org. All right, Chris. We don't have a lot of time here, so let's just get right to it. Tell us about the Southside Little League.
Southside Little League is a nonprofit organization. We play baseball and softball. We have kids ages 4 to 15. Southside Little League has been around since 1955.
1955?
1955 is one of the oldest Little League organizations in Chicago.
Did you start that?
I wasn't there then, but I've been around Southside Little League my whole life.
Okay, did you play with Southside Little League?
I did play at Southside Little League from the time I was 5 years old. I grew up in Southside Little League. My brother played at Southside Little League, got a Division I scholarship to Alcorn State, played baseball there.
Oh, that's big time.
Our Vice President, Arthur Moore, played baseball at Alabama A&M, won a scholarship for 4 years. So, I've seen a lot of good things happen in Southside Little League.
What was the principle of finding Southside Little League?
Southside Little League was founded to give boys of color an opportunity to play baseball.
Okay.
It was an organization, like I said, it's one of the oldest organizations in the Chicago area.
Now, what is the right age for children to start playing Little League? What's the best age?
You can never start too young, but typically about 4 years old is where we begin to take children. They start at the Pee Wee level. They learn the fundamentals: how to catch, throw, how to run.
At 4 years old?
At 4 years old.
You call that Pee Wee?
That's called Pee Wee.
Okay.
So they play head off a tee and everything.
So now, do you have teams? Is Southside Little League made of various teams, or is it just one team?
Sure. So Southside Little League has various teams. Currently, we have about 125 kids in the organization. So we have.
And what are the ages?
The ages range from 4 to 15.
125?
125 kids. So, at the Pee Wee level, you don't really have teams. They're learning the fundamentals. But as you grow to what's called the minor league division, we have a couple of teams at that level, 2 or 3 teams each year. And those kids are typically 7 to 10 years old. After that, they move up to the major league. After that, they move up to the major league division, ages 9 to 12.
Okay.
And so we have 2 or 3 teams at all those levels.
So now, let me ask you this. Why do you feel participating in sports as a kid is important, especially baseball and softball?
Oh, participating in sports is huge. It teaches you teamwork, accountability, discipline, so many different things. I've learned just from playing baseball. I met a lot of good people that I keep in touch with still to this day. Some of the coaches have had a major impact on my life, so it's good to get kids in team building sports such as baseball.
Well, I mean, team building requires team effort and about leadership, the ability to manage time and work with others. So let's use your journey as an example. When did you first get introduced to the Southside Little League?
Sure. I was 6 years old. I started playing t-ball at Southside Little League.
How'd you get there?
My mother. My mother and my father. But my father was a Chicago police officer. He was really busy, but he still found a way to make it to every game. But my mother was the one who used to lug me back and forth to baseball practice.
Okay, so take us through it. So you started t-ball. You were age, 5 years old?
About 5 or 6 years old.
Okay. You said, Mom, Dad, I want to play ball, or what happened?
That's what happened. I saw some kids outside at Cole Park, and I said, Mommy, can I play baseball too? And so she said, well, let me figure out how to get you signed up. And it took off from there.
So it originates out of Cole Park?
Out of Cole Park. We play out of Cole Park on 85th and King Drive, and Thule Park at 90th and King Drive.
Okay, so physically, where's the Southside Little League?
501 East 90th Street at Thule Park.
Okay, at Thule Park. Okay, so now you're playing t-ball. Then what's next?
So I gained this interest in baseball. I find this love for the game. I'm always swinging a bat.
What do you love about the game?
Oh,
I mean, what do kids love about baseball?
I love hitting. And, I enjoy hitting and running and just, it's such an individualized team sport. you don't have a lot of team sports like that. Baseball, you're there on your own, but you're part of a team as well.
In the individualized sport,
Correct.
Okay.
So that's part of what I enjoyed. The rush of catching a fly ball or throwing somebody out. I enjoyed all those things. My parents got so involved. My mother even became president of the league for 12 or 13 years.
So it was a family opportunity, a family activity.
Well, anything I want to do, my mother finds a way to be a part of. And so she took it by the horns when I said I wanted to play baseball, and she got involved very heavily.
So for those that are out there listening, to tell us how this team sport affected your self-confidence. I mean, what did it do for you at 5, 6, and 7 years old? Because we've got a lot of little boys out there who could benefit from the self-confidence builder. How did it affect you?
Sure. So baseball is a game of failure, for one.
A game of failure.
So, the best hitters in Major League Baseball only get a hit 3 out of every 10 times. 7 out of 10 times you're likely to fail. So it teaches you that, you're going to mess up sometimes. But, if you keep putting in the work, you'll be successful.
Perseverance,
for sure.
And? I mean, you just said it that, managing these relationships, on a team sport, good sportsmanship, good conduct. I mean, all of these things that affect us in our adult lives, and you got to expose to this at an early age.
Oh, yes, you definitely get molded at an early age. I mean, it is so good to have, so many positive male influences out there coaching and molding, young children in our communities because they need all the help they can get. You can't just get it at home. It takes a village to raise a child.
Okay, so let's go back. So you did the T-ball, and then you moved up to...
I moved up to the minor league.
To the minor league. What's the minor league?
The minor league is when you start playing real games. You get out there, and the pitcher is pitching the ball for real, and you're really playing baseball at that point.
Are you playing with other teams around the city?
Well, at this point, not yet. You're playing just internally at Southside. We had 5 or 6 teams in the minor league, and we would just play a schedule of 10 or 12 games against those boys. And that's where you really figure out if you want to play baseball because, lots of kids play T-ball and, kind of the joy kind of fizzles out early on.
Now, is T-ball with a hard ball like baseball? What kind of ball do you use a T-ball?
T-ball, you use a rubber ball so that the children don't get hurt.
So if I'm a parent and my son's out there playing T-ball, I can feel comfortable that 90-mile-an-hour ball is rubber.
Correct.
Okay.
We want to take all precautions, make safety first for the children. That's the most important thing.
The gear, the knee pads and all that stuff comes along with it?
We have everything. We have helmets and knee pads, everything.
So you supply that?
We supply that. If you're signing up for baseball, the only thing you need to bring for your children is cleats, a glove, and a protective cup. Okay, so now we're in the minor leagues. Well, quick question. What's the difference between baseball and softball? So... typically, we have a softball program. The softball program is for girls. This is actually going in our 3rd year. That program is doubled. The first year we had 12 girls. Last year we had 25 girls in the softball program. And so we're looking to grow that program even more. Okay, that's softball with that big ball? With the big yellow ball. They call that a clincher, right? Well, back in the day it was called Well, the clincher is even bigger. That's the big softball that you play with no glove and you could just, and that's a Chicago thing. Oh, that's the clincher. But no, this is just a yellow 12-inch softball that the girls play with. And they use a glove for that? They use a glove for that. So what does this do for the girls? The girls, they get out there and they have the same experiences as the boys. I mean, they go out there, they learn teamwork, accountability, sportsmanship. There's not a lot of programs in the city for girls softball, so we're one of the few programs that offer those opportunities for our girls. Yeah. Now, has baseball or softball become more popular for girls in Chicago? I don't see a lot of girls playing, softball, baseball, any other kind of ball. And maybe it's because of the areas that I'm telling. So when did this expansion or this explosion happen here? I wouldn't quite call it an explosion, but there was a time, we used to have them playing with the boys. They would play baseball as well. So they were a part of the Southside Little League long time ago before you get to softball? Long time ago. Okay, so let's be clear. So it's all inclusive. Okay, so girls and boys from the ages of 5 to 15 were playing with the Southside Little League. Correct. And they all started playing T-ball. Correct. And then they moved to the minors. Correct. Okay, now we go from the minors. Where do we go from there? We go to the majors. The majors is where things get a little bit more competitive, and things really, really ramp up at that age group, and that's the ages of 9 to 12.
Okay, and how competitive do they get? Do you play in tournaments? Do you get trophies? What happens there?
At that age group, you do play in tournaments. Everybody gets a trophy. We do participation trophies for everybody. So,
okay.
So if you come out and you play baseball, you will get a trophy.
Okay. Well, if you're just tuning in, you are with Chris Dorsey, president of the Southside Little League. And if you've got a child out there, girl or boy, between the ages of 5 and 14, give him a call to see if your child would like to participate in this. It sounds like something that we all need to have our children in, especially since we're building confidence at an early age. We're learning team building skills. So now, okay, so at the majors, do you play other teams throughout the city?
So we do play other teams throughout the city at that level. There are quite a few leagues around neighboring neighborhoods, such as Roseland, Rosemore, different Dalton, Riverdale. We go out and the kids get to experience playing against different teams.
Okay, so now, what's the difference between the Southside Little League and the Jackie Robinson?
So
what's going on there?
So the Little League has boundaries that are set up.
Okay.
So the Southside Little League is primarily in Chatham, Avalon Park, Woodlawn, Peel Hill.
So it's community based.
It's community based. So every league has boundaries. And so that's what the difference between the Southside Little League, the Jackie Robinson West Little League, the Roseland Little League, the Rosemore Little League, the Near West Little League. All the leagues have these boundaries. So if kids want to come and they live outside of our boundaries, we'll point them in the right direction.
Okay, so now in these boundaries, they have internal competition, then there's competition outside of the boundary.
Outside of the boundary as well.
So now, is that part of a larger organization?
That is part of the whole Little League organization. So you touched upon Jackie Robinson West. So how they got to the Little League World Series in 2014 is they were part of the large Little League tournament. So they had to beat teams from in our little area between us and all those other teams, and they made it all the way to the Little League World Series. That is a long road that they had to go on to get there.
How many teams did they play?
Oh, I'm not sure how many teams they play.
Ballpark.
I know there are about 700,000 little leagues in the country.
700,000.
Yeah.
So in Chicago, in the Southside Little League, you said about 125.
Correct.
Okay, so in all of these little leagues, it's roughly anywhere between 100 and 125 kids playing.
Correct.
Collectively. So, okay. So now, you're at the majors. You're playing games with each other and outside of your boundaries. Then where do you go from there?
So after that, you move up to what's called the Junior League. The Junior League is more preparation for high school baseball. So you start playing with leadoffs, and you're doing more advanced things than you were doing at
Okay, for those that don't know, leadoff, what's leadoff?
So typically, a leadoff in baseball is when you get on the base and you're able to take a couple of steps off the base before the pitch is thrown.
Okay, so you're going to steal a base.
You're going to steal a base.
You know, that takes a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
That takes a ton of confidence to steal a base.
Is there training for that? Is there specific training for that, or do kids just naturally pick it up who have that competitive edge?
So there is training. Baseball is a game of really technical skill. There's a lot of nuances to baseball and understanding when you should run, when not to run. There's so much that goes into it. And that's another thing. You have to listen. Listening is a big skill for baseball. And so that's good. I mean, because kids learn a lot of technical skills just listening. You know, that's one of the main things, the first practice I have, because I coach as well, is, hey.
You're a coach?
I coach.
Okay, so let me change gears. Who do they play for?
They play for me.
See, I was having a conversation with some colleagues, and I was saying, we play for the coach.
Correct.
So the coach is the mother, the father, the motivator, the leader, the mentor. So what kind of relationship do you have with the team off the field as opposed to on the field? Because I know it's a different relationship.
So, I mean, off the field, there's not a ton of relationship with the children. You know, if they come to me and they need help with anything, I'm there. But I you know, for those 2 or 3 hours that they're with me, you know, you're not running to mommy. If you have an issue, you come see coach. You can't go, you know, kids like to run off and go ask mommy for water. No, you're here. I'm mommy, I'm daddy at this point for you. And so, you know, the kids, you know, they're very receptive.
So you're mentoring them.
I am.
You're mentoring them. You're guiding them and molding them through life.
Oh, for sure. You know, I still talk to some of the kids that I coached years ago. They're college students now. I just got off the phone today with a young man who is a football player at Columbia University in New York. Ivy League school. You know, me and him talk once a week, and he's always appreciative.
So the influence doesn't stop. Now, so you played. How did you get involved as being a coach?
So Arthur Moore, who was the vice president, said, "Hey, Chris, you know, we got so much from Southside Little League. Why don't we go back and coach a team?" And so we coached a team, and you know, so from coaching, it just kind of took off, and we took on more and more and more responsibility. And we've been back with the league now probably 10 years.
How long you been president?
This is going on season number 2 of my presidency.
Okay. And looking back from the time you started in T-ball, could you ever have imagined that now you were the president of this phenomenal organization?
I had no idea that I would ever be back at Southside Little League in any capacity. But
what drew you back?
You know, Arthur was right. You know, I have a responsibility to give back to the children of our community.
Now, what did you learn that responsibility?
I learned that from not my father, my coaches, my mother. I learned that from all of them that, you know, I should give back. So much was given to me. I learned so much and had so many good memories at Southside Little League. So, you know, I had to go back and give back.
Now, do the parents ever, and for lack of a better word, do they interfere with your coaching?
Well, you're always going to have 1 or 2 parents who think they know more than the coaches. Sometimes they do. But, you know, if I make a mistake, let me make my mistake. Yeah, you definitely have, you know, stage dads who are out there trying to step on toes. The good thing is, though, that we need volunteers. So if you want to help me coach from the stands, put on your shoes and come help me coach on the field.
Well, you just heard it. We here with Chris Dorsey, the president of the Southside Little League, and they're looking for volunteers. If you're a sports enthusiast, if you feel that you've got what it takes, give Chris a call to see if you have the opportunity to be a coach or to volunteer on the team. All right. So now, the parents, what kind of commitment do parents have to make in order for their children to participate?
So Little League is a pretty big commitment. So practices are typically for every team, doesn't matter what team your child is on. There will be 2 to 3 days a week, and they're typically games 2 or 3 times a week. So it is a 4 or 5 day commitment weekly for baseball.
Okay, 4 to 5 day translated hours. Is it 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day?
So you like maybe, let's say 15, 16 hours a week.
Okay, all right. So then let me ask you this then. What's typically the hours of practice, and when do you practice?
So, for example, my team typically practices. We practice Monday and Wednesday from 6 to 7:30 or 6 to 8, you know, till it gets dark outside.
Yeah. What about in the rain? You practice in the rain?
We try not to practice in the rain.
But do you?
We do. Sometimes you do. I mean, you look at the Chicago weather, you got to make do sometimes.
And how do the parents feel about that? A child playing in the rain?
They don't like it, but you have to do what you have to do sometimes.
It builds character.
It definitely builds character.
It builds resistance. It builds integrity. You know, you made a commitment to be here. That's going to be here. Now let me switch gears. So now we talked about the benefits of playing in the league, the mentoring, the growth development, the skill set. Now, if all this is happening with the team, what's happening to the kids who aren't playing?
That's a great question. You know, so many times we see kids, and this is one thing we try to do. We try to recruit kids. If we just see them hanging out in the park, hey, son, can you go get your mother and, you know, have her sign up? We have waivers. Some, you know, we don't have a ton of them, but we do have no fee waivers for children in need. So we try to include as many children in the community as we can.
Now let me ask you this, and maybe you'll be biased. Do you find that students that participate in team sports are better students in school?
I wouldn't go that far, but they do learn some accountability and responsibility in baseball. I was a good student, so you know I feel like some of that I did learn on the field. So being on the field with your teammates is extremely important. It's a part of our growth and development. And as young men and women, if we don't get it there, then where would we get it? I don't know. I mean, because, you know, a lot of our kids spend a lot of time, even the kids that do play baseball would rather be playing a video game. And that's our biggest enemy right now.
Is that right?
Is the PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch. Yes, sir. That's right.
So, okay. So now we're at the major leagues. We're playing ball. Where do we go from there?
From there, you go to the junior league, and that's the 13, 14, 15-year-olds who are preparing to play high school baseball.
Okay, and then you get there, and then At that point, they age out of your program.
They age out of our program.
And they go to high school.
They're typically in high school. They play with the high school teams or a travel team or any of the opportunities that are available.
Now, do the students particularly stay with the high school teams? Do they play in high school, or do they just leave it alone when they finish with the Southside Little League?
It depends on the child. Most kids that stay and have that commitment to the age of 14, 15 years old, they intend on playing high school baseball. So and
Did you play high school baseball?
I did. I played at Whitney Young.
Okay, and then did you play college ball?
I did not play college ball. I was a okay high school baseball player, but not good enough to play college baseball.
If you're just tuning in with us, we're here with Chris Dorsey, the president of the Southside Little League, and they're looking for volunteers, and they're always open to take on new students in their program. And we're with me, OS on, and I'm with the AARP Foundation Experience Corps, and we're looking for volunteers. So we're both here today looking for volunteers to help our young people take the next step in life. So please feel free to give us a call at 312-660-8655. Now we've got a few minutes left, so let me ask you this, okay? So now, what's the process? How does someone actually get their child interested in your program?
So there are a number of ways you can reach Southside Little League. SouthsideLittleLeague.org, you can register online, or you can come in. We have in-person registration at Thule Park. The dates are listed on the website. Our next in-person registration will be March 30th.
Okay, so now, do you have to have a certain skill set in order to play? Can you come in as a rookie, never touch the ball, never touch the glove? What's the best way to do this?
You just need to come in willing to learn. There's no skill set necessary to play Little League baseball for Southside Little League.
All right, and if you're coming in with your parents, we have a caller. Caller, how can we help
you? I had a quick question about the Little League. And what do you think are some of the benefits of children playing baseball nowadays?
I think that children, like I said, baseball is a very cerebral game. So you have to always you always have to think. It's do I run? Do I throw the ball? What do I do? I think that's one of the benefits of baseball is learning. It's a learning experience, team building. It's a very strategic game.
Thank you, caller. You said something very important there. It's a cerebral. You have to think. It's a thinking game. A lot of times we don't think of baseball as thinking. The ball comes, you hit it, and you run. However, is this a pitch for you? Have you developed that certain skill? Timing, stealing a base. What goes into stealing a base?
So stealing a base, it takes a lot. You have to take. There's a couple of things you have to take into account. You have to take into account how many balls and strikes the batter has. You have to take into account how fast the pitcher can get the ball to the catcher, or how good of an arm does the catcher have. All of those things come into play when you're going to steal a base.
So when can you steal a base? Is once the pitcher has thrown the ball, or once the catcher has caught the ball?
So it depends. At the Little League level, you cannot steal a base until the ball has crossed home plate. So there's really not a lot of base stealing at the Little League level.
Okay.
But once you get past that Little League level, you move to junior league, you move to high school, anything past that, you can run anytime you want to. You just have to be smart.
Anytime, so the pitcher can still have the ball could be in play.
You can just run at will, but you have to know time in a situation.
Okay, all right. So now here it is. We're March 2019. Let's time travel and go to March 2025. Where's Southside Little League? Tell me about it. Where is it?
I'm hoping for growth. Right now I say we're about 125 kids. I would love to see the league grow incrementally. I would love to get more girls involved. I would love to get more volunteers involved. At Southside's peak, I'm sure there were maybe 300, 400 kids. And so we want to get back to that level.
So moving forward, so outreach, what are you doing?
So we have doing a ton of marketing and outreach, reaching out to local businesses, going into the elementary schools, trying to get more participation in Little League baseball.
And what's the cost?
The cost is for the minor league level, major league level is $100.
$100 a year?
$100 a year. So that's all inclusive. You get uniform, it pays your umpire fees, pretty much everything except for your bat, glove.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. So moving forward, real quick, tell us one more time about the benefits of Southside Little League for those who are listening, who are just tuning in. so they can get their children involved? We got 30 seconds. Hit it.
Southside Little League is a great organization. We're one of the oldest organizations in Little League baseball in Chicago. If you have a child interested, please reach out.
Once again, thank you for tuning in with us. We are here with Chris Dorsey, president of Southside Little League. He can be reached at 312-210-4232. And I'm with the AARP Foundation, and we're at 312-660-8665. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.